Janitor's daughter stuns everyone by responding in perfect Arabic, her hidden talent revealed. Layla stood backstage, her heart pounding like a runaway drum. In the bustling halls of Lincoln High, whispers spiraled around her every day, but today, they ignited with a feverish intensity. A new Arabic teacher had arrived, and suddenly, her classmates seemed to turn a sharp corner, laced with laughter about the new foreigner. As the laughter scattered like confetti in the wind, it stung her chest, a reminder of the burden she carried, the duality of her life as a girl rooted in her Arab heritage, yet desperate for the acceptance of her peers. "Why do they never see us?" she whispered to herself, thinking of her hard-working father, whose worn hands sculpted the floors of their school into a clean canvas each night. Layla remembered the nights spent listening to her grandmother recount tales of their culture, stories woven with love and laughter. "Be proud of who you are," her father would say, echoing the sentiments of her grandmother, yet with every jab, every joke from her classmates, pride turned into shadows of doubt. Then the spark ignited. An upcoming student talent showcase filled her mind with a mingling of anxiety and hope. She had a hidden talent that seemed just out of reach, polished through late-night conversations in elegant Arabic, tales shared under the soft glow of her grandmother's living room lamp. What if she shared that with the world? What if she stood on that stage, honoring her heritage, finally being seen? The day of the showcase arrived like a storm brewing over the horizon, alive with energy and tension. Layla took a deep breath, steeling herself against the storm of judgment that awaited. As she walked to the front of the stage, her classmates' eyes bored into her, their expressions a mix of skepticism and sneers. She felt so small, yet so charged. "Why bother?" someone shouted, a calculated attempt to throw her off her game. The challenge wrapped around her like a noose, threatening to pull her down. Yet, in that moment of despair, she surged forward, a tidal wave of inspiration washing over her. "I'll show them," she thought, the fire inside igniting into a blazing flame. With a steadiness she didn't expect, Layla responded in flawless Arabic, words cascading from her lips like a waterfall. The room silenced as her voice enveloped them, resonating with the richness of her culture. Faces twisted in shock and disbelief, the laughter fading into awkward stares. In that breathtaking instant, Layla felt a surge of power. "Wow," murmured one girl, her surprise a melody that lifted the weight of the room. The magic of the moment, a subtle shift, started reshaping how they saw her. They were watching, truly watching, as if the layers of prejudice peeled away to reveal the person beneath. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The shift didn't just linger in the air, it quickened conversations. Topics unspoken began to rumble underfoot about diversity, class, and richness of culture. Layla, once a mere shadow in the hallways, had stepped into the light. Yet, as the applause rang like a symphony around her, the weight of her family's expectations loomed like a cloud. Would this newfound attention push her away from her roots, or could it be a bridge to reconciliation? With her father's nodding smile echoing in her mind, she reflected on her journey. She was at the brink of a transformation, an adventure that could either elevate her or lead her deeper into uncertainty. As she stepped off the stage, breathless and hopeful, her heart raced with questions. Would they embrace her for all that she was? The path ahead felt wide open yet anxious, the next chapter waiting to be written. Layla stepped off the stage, her heart still racing from the thrill of performing. The applause still rang in her ears, mingling with the laughter from moments before. It felt surreal, as if she floated through time, transforming from a girl often overlooked to someone who had captivated an entire auditorium with her voice. But as she made her way back to the wings, that feeling of triumph began to tangle with uncertainty. Everyone she passed wore expressions she couldn't quite decipher. Were they proud, surprised, or just confused? Had she really made an impact, Or was the awe in their eyes just a momentary flicker? Layla. The voice sliced through her thoughts, pulling her back to reality. It was Sarah, her childhood friend and one of the few who had always believed in her. As Sarah rushed toward her, her face beamed with genuine excitement. That was incredible. She exclaimed, her hands animatedly gesturing in the air. You were amazing up there. I had no idea you could speak Arabic like that. It was captivating. A wave of warmth washed over Layla, pushing aside the doubts that threatened to creep back in. Thanks, Sarah. I was so nervous. The truth was, she'd worried that revealing such a deeply personal part of herself would put an even larger target on her back, but Sarah didn't let the moment linger on doubt. You need to harness this moment. You've got to keep performing. Think of how many people you could inspire with your story. The enthusiasm radiating from her friend felt infectious. As they wandered into the bustling hall, students in clusters discussed the performances. Some laughed, while others shared their reactions or took selfies to capture the night's energy. For the first time, Layla felt a flicker of hope that this could be the beginning of something important for her, not just in the realm of school performances but for understanding her own identity. Yet, just as promise glittered on the horizon, shadows loomed larger. A couple of classmates approached, their smirks unfamiliar in a way that put her on guard. Nice performance, Layla, one of them said, almost too casually. Well, for a foreigner, I mean. The thinly veiled jab hung in the air like a dark cloud, and in an instant, her heart sank. Pride in what she'd accomplished began to fray around the edges. She had stripped bare before them, offering her culture like a gift, but it felt as though the same classmates who had laughed only moments before were quick to belittle that gift. Before she could respond, Sarah nudged her gently. Let us get out of here, she whispered, clearly aware of the tension radiating from Layla. As they made their way toward the exit, Layla's gaze darted back toward the stage one last time. She could hear slower conversations building, murmurs of appreciation, the buzz that hinted at the potential change she might have sparked in the hearts of some. The battle for acceptance wasn't over yet, but perhaps tonight was a stepping stone. After this, you have to come to my house. Let us talk about our plans for next year. Sarah chimed, her excitement unwavering. Okay, Layla replied, her spirit lifting just a bit. The idea was a promise, and it was comforting to think there could be more nights like this, moments to share. But as she left the auditorium, another thought crept in. What if she didn't just want to perform? What if she wanted to teach, to open the door wider for those who felt invisible? The thought blossomed courage within her. However, the question remained, was she ready to face the consequences of such choices? Would anyone stand with her if she dared to challenge the status quo, or would she end up alone? The journey ahead was as tumultuous as the one she had just conquered, filled with joy, hope, and a seed of determination that had only just begun to grow. The night held its breath as she stepped into the unknown, waiting for Layla to take her next bold step. The next morning, the sun streamed through Layla's window, teasing the remnants of sleep from her eyes. Fresh coffee aromas danced in from the kitchen, mingling with the sounds of her little brother playing. Her mom called out, "Breakfast is ready." The warmth of home wrapped around her, yet underneath it all, her heart carried a weight that was foreign. After a quick bite, she rushed upstairs to get dressed. The events from the night before replayed in her mind on a loop: the laughter, the applause, but especially the taunts from her classmates. She couldn't shake off the feeling that they still echoed, a reminder of the vulnerability she had exposed. "Layla, you alright?" her mom asked as she peeked into her room. There was concern dancing in her mother's eyes. "You seemed a bit lost at breakfast." "Just thinking about the performance," Layla replied, forcing a smile. Her mom didn't need to know about the shadows that danced on her doorstep now. Determined to avoid lingering doubts, she decided to speak with Sarah at school. They hadn't really had a chance to discuss their plans for next year yet. Layla felt the excitement hum between them, like a static charge waiting to be unleashed. As she walked through the halls, the atmosphere was lighter than the day before. Students were buzzing about the performances. Yet, when a group that had mocked her drew near, excitement faded. Their laughter cut through her like a knife. She almost turned to run, but the memory of the applause held her back. She had shared something beautiful. "Hey, Layla!" One of the girls called out, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Are you planning to perform again? I mean, for a foreigner, your act was interesting." The others giggled, and Layla felt her stomach churn. She wanted to be strong, to stand tall. But the fear of ridicule snared her voice. Just when she thought of who she'd become, Sarah stepped in between them, her face fierce. "Back off," Sarah snapped. "Layla owned that stage last night. You wish you could do what she did." The laughter was silenced for a moment, and Layla felt an unexpected rush of gratitude wash over her. Sarah was her shield, her unwavering defender. Still, it was complicated. Could she really rely on such moments to lift her up? Sarah turned to Layla, her expression softening as she asked, "How about we head to my place after school? We can brainstorm ways to keep this fire alive." Layla shrugged, though her heart soared at the invitation. Meeting with Sarah fueled her hope. "Yeah, let us do it." As the last bell rang, she felt a sense of responsibility settle on her shoulders. It was about more than just her voice, she could pave the path for others who felt like outsiders. In Sarah's cozy living room, they sprawled out with notebooks and ideas. Hours slipped by. For every sketch of a performance concept, Layla found herself doodling ways to help fellow students express themselves too. She envisioned workshops, art showcases, a bridge for sharing cultures, but deep down, another voice warned her: what if her plans flopped? What if her efforts led to new forms of scrutiny? "Layla," Sarah interrupted her thoughts, "you have something special. Don't let anyone dim your spark." Emboldened by her friend's words, Layla took a deep breath and resolved to confront her fear head-on. "I want to start a program at school," she said, a tremor of nervous anticipation flickering in her chest. "I want to create safe spaces for everyone, including those who feel invisible." Just then, her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Her heart skipped. Was it someone congratulating her? Or perhaps a cruel joke? As she opened the message, a chill flickered over her skin. "You think you have what it takes to change things? Just wait and see." Was this a message of challenge, of warning? Layla's heart raced, uncertainty flooding back in. What was she getting herself into? The room felt charged with energy, the plans she had made suddenly veering into the realm of the unknown. Would she push forward, or would this be where her dream stopped? The clicks of their pens faded into silence, the air thick with expectation. Layla had made her choice, but at what cost? Would she be ready for the storm ahead? Layla stared at her phone, her breath caught in her throat. Whispered warnings churned in her thoughts. Who could it be? The potential for something sinister loomed like a dark cloud over her plans. Yet, beneath that doubt, a flicker of defiance sparked within her. She wouldn't let fear dictate her dreams. "Layla?" Sarah broke through the silence, her brow furrowed in concern. "What's wrong?" "It's just a text." Layla hesitated, biting her lip. "Someone sent me this message. It feels unsettling." Sarah leaned closer, curiosity evident on her face. "What does it say?" Wordlessly, Layla handed her the phone. Sarah's eyes widened as she read the words. "This is ridiculous. Who would say something like that?" A lump formed in Layla's throat. "I thought maybe this could be my moment. A chance to help and inspire. But now it feels like they're just waiting for me to fail." "Forget them," Sarah said firmly, handing the phone back. "If they think they can scare you, they're wrong. You have a voice, Layla. Use it." Layla felt the weight of Sarah's words sink in deeper. It was time to be bold, to directly confront her fears, rather than let them fester. "You're right," she sighed, gathering her courage. "I want to start with something small, a meeting maybe. Just to gauge interest. Perfect idea. Sarah beamed, her excitement infectious. Let us rally a few friends, and we can plan a little get-together in the art room after school next week. We can brainstorm, create ideas, build something together. You know, make it fun. A smile crept over Layla's face. With Sarah by her side, the possibility of greatness didn't seem so far-fetched. But like a shadow, the text message lingered in the back of her mind. What if they find out? What if they try to shut us down? Let them try. We can't hide away because of what a few people might think, Sarah affirmed. They don't define you. Taking a deep breath, Layla felt a rush of hope. Maybe she really could do this. After all, their laughter might drown out the doubts echoing in her heart. As the evening wore on, the two friends sketched ideas, filling the pages with colorful drawings and words weaving dreams into reality. Every idea sparked excitement, and the boundless potential ignited a fire within Layla. But just as their energy peaked, another text pinged through the air, breaching their bubble of creativity. Layla glanced down with hesitation. It was another anonymous message, "You're not ready for what's coming next." Her heart sank. A chill wrapped around her spine. Not again. Layla. Sarah noticed the shift, her excitement dampened. What did it say? It's just more of the same. Layla's voice trembled. It feels like they're watching me, waiting. Fine, let them watch. Sarah's tone turned fierce again. You're not alone in this. We'll face it together. This is just noise. Focus on what you want, what we want. Layla nodded, though the uncertainty still danced around the edges of her thoughts. As they wrapped up their plans for the meeting, the room felt electric with possibility. The air thick with hope, she chose to believe in the importance of what they were building: an open community, a space for everyone's voice. But that lingering doubt sat in the corner of her mind like an uninvited guest. She could almost see it looming, questioning her strength. What if all this effort was met with resistance? Would she have what it takes to push through the storm? The night wrapped itself around them, but Layla felt the storm brewing in the distance, an uncomfortable reminder that her journey was just beginning. When the doorbell chimed through Sarah's house, they paused, glancing at each other uncertainly. Who could that be? Sarah asked, her stomach fluttering. I don't know, Layla whispered, dread snaking back into her heart. As the door swung open, the sound of laughter and chatter filled the air. Was this a welcome distraction, or would the weight of scrutiny follow her here too? Layla. A familiar voice called, and she felt her spirit lift, at least for now. But as she looked up, the comforting faces around her did little to erase that feeling of being watched. Would they be able to catch her if she fell? Amidst the laughter and warmth, she knew one thing. The battle for her voice had only just begun, and she had to be ready for anything. The question lingered in her mind, heavy and lurking: how deep did the challenge go, and would she be able to rise to meet it? Layla stepped forward, forcing the nervous knots in her stomach to settle as a burst of laughter welcomed her. Friends mingled in small groups, the vibrancy of their chatter enveloping her like a warm hug. Sarah's excitement brought a little bubble of comfort amid her swirling thoughts, and for a moment, Layla felt buoyed by the positivity around her. Layla. Come over. Mia called excitedly from a small gathering in the corner. Mia was one of those people who lit up every room she entered, her smile infectious and her spirit unstoppable. Taking a deep breath, Layla approached, her heart racing. Hey, guys, she said, forcing a smile that felt like it could slip away at any moment. Did you hear about the art exhibition coming up next month? Jason chimed in. They need student volunteers. It could be a great way to get involved. Definitely. It'll help boost our profiles and give us the chance to show what we can do, Mia added, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Layla couldn't help but feel a flicker of inspiration lighting up. Maybe we could brainstorm ideas for a project together at the exhibition, she suggested, her voice more confident than she felt. Great idea. Sarah encouraged. We could showcase everyone's work, maybe even do a live demonstration or a workshop. As the group buzzed with ideas, Layla felt the heaviness of the text messages recede a little. Surrounded by friends, the joy of possibilities felt tangible, like they could grasp it together. But then came the nagging reminder of that sinister message, echoing like a distant thunder. You're not ready for what's coming next. She shivered. Layla, Sarah's voice cut through her thoughts, pulling her back to the moment. Are you okay? You seem a little off. I'm good. Really? Layla forced out a laugh, but her heart thundered louder, fearing that the truth might slip out. That's when the door creaked open again, and the energy shifted slightly. A pair of new faces stepped inside, and Layla felt her shoulders tense. One of them was Jordan, the captain of the soccer team. They had been friends once, but things had changed when whispers and rumors flared through school. He had been part of the crowd that had overlooked her, now sporting the weight of judgment she couldn't shake. Hey, everyone! Jordan called out, his tone casual. He had that confidence that made it seem like he could weather any storm. Layla, let us go say hi, Sarah nudged her, sensing the discomfort radiating from her best friend. Wait. What if he just trusts me, Sarah insisted, dragging Layla forward. Before Layla knew it, she was facing Jordan. Hi, Layla. What's up? He said, a grin plastered on his face, confidence unwavering. Not much, just brainstorming some ideas for upcoming projects, she managed, pride warming her chest as she said it. Might be cool to get involved, he offered, his demeanor easing Layla's apprehension slightly. It was strange to think she might have an ally in such an unexpected place. Suddenly, a quick rustle came from the other side of the room, pulling her attention. One of the new students had set up a small lantern and was carefully arranging a display on the table. Layla felt drawn to it. There was beauty, some unfiltered passion there. She took a step forward to admire it. That's interesting, she said. What are you hoping to create with your work? The student looked up, surprise flashing across her face. Oh. I'm just exploring some ideas with lights and colors, trying to reflect different emotions. That was it. Layla's thoughts raced, her heart rate picking up again. What if they each shared their stories? Their struggles? It could change everything. I actually have this project in mind, Layla began. Her words poured out, each one bold, her thoughts crystallizing. The laughter around her faded, replaced by genuine interest. The realization washed over her, they were listening. But just as that first high note of confidence rang out, a text pinged again. With steady hands, she grabbed her phone, but she hesitated. After all this, could she still take on more? Sarah leaned over. Her worry mingling with hope. Everything okay? Layla turned her gaze towards her friends. Their faces, filled with eagerness, grounded her. She could do this, or at the very least, she had to try. As she made a decision to respond, the curiosity flooded back in her mind. Could she rise to meet whatever storm was brewing? And would her voice be strong enough to carry through the darkness? One thing became clear, the journey was intensifying, and she needed to be ready for whatever came next. Layla's heart raced as she glanced at her phone, the screen lighting up with another message. The looming dread pressed against her chest, but glancing at the gathered friends reminded her why she had come out tonight. Listen up, I've got an idea, Layla finally said, squeezing the confidence that had come to her in a gentle wave. The chatter around her faded slightly as her friends honed in, their interest peaked. What if we created an installation based on a theme of connection? You know, like different emotions tied to our experiences at school. Mia's eyes lit up. Yes. We could each contribute pieces that represent how we've connected or lost connections over the years. It's meaningful. Layla nodded, encouraged. And we could invite the new students to share their stories too. It could be a great way to include everyone. As they brainstormed titles and themes, Layla felt layers of anxiety peeling away. Ideas crisscrossed around the room, each one building momentum. Laughter mingled with sincere discussion. The heaviness that had first settled on her heart shifted to something lighter. But then her phone buzzed again, harsh and unforgiving. She blinked, but she couldn't ignore it any longer. "Excuse me, guys," she said, more to herself than anyone else. Finding a quiet corner away from the buzzing conversation, she hesitated before opening the message. "Don't ignore what's coming. It's just the beginning." The words dripped with foreboding, freezing her in place. She felt the walls of the room close in around her. Layla clenched her fists, fighting the urge to let the darkness seep back in. Instead, she reached out to the group. "Hey, can everyone gather around for a sec?" The others noticed the shift in her demeanor and quickly reversed course toward her. "Is everything okay?" Sarah asked, eyes wide with concern. Layla took a breath. I just want to ask if we can also include a part where we share what we all truly feel about our connections and the things that sometimes hurt us." She glanced at each face, searching for understanding. It's easy to smile and show what we love, but maybe it's just as important to show our wounds. The silence that followed was thick. Layla held her breath, waiting for judgment, but instead, she was met with nods. "That's actually really deep, Layla," Jason said, crossing his arms. "It could spark some real conversations." "Definitely," Mia agreed. "It might pull people together more than we realize." She felt the warmth in her chest return. They were starting to see it. The vulnerability could become a bridge instead of a wall. Suddenly, the new student with the lantern approached cautiously, her face brightening with curiosity. "I heard what you were saying. I'd love to share my experiences too." Layla's heart soared. In that moment, she recognized the power they could have together. This project turned into a tapestry of voices, not just her own. But the moment of connection was briefly interrupted again. A group of students had gathered near the entrance, and Layla couldn't help but glance over. Jordan was speaking to them, the same arrogance shining on his face. But when he caught Layla's eye, his expression softened. "Maybe we should invite him too," Sarah's whisper floated to Layla's ears. "Just to keep it all open." Layla's stomach churned, but the whisper of possibility beckoned her. "Okay," she replied slowly, allowing the initiative to develop. If this was going to work, it had to include everyone. She squared her shoulders. She could be brave. As she returned to the group, newfound resolve blooming in her heart, Jordan turned to make eye contact. But at that moment, another ping came from her phone. "Just remember. You will never be ready." Fear mingled with the pulse of excitement coursing through her. What did that mean? Uncertainty loomed like shadows in the corners of her mind, demanding to be faced. With a deep breath, Layla refocused on her friends. "Let us make this project not just an art piece but a movement. Are you with me?" Around her, nods and cheers erupted. The journey ahead felt electrifying. And yet she couldn't shake off the gnawing feeling that something might await her just beyond the edge of this experience. What was coming next? Could she harness the storm, or would it sweep her along with it? The questions lingered in the atmosphere as they began to lay the groundwork for what could be their most transformative endeavor yet. The air buzzed with excitement as the group leaned closer together, brainstorming ideas for their installation. Each suggestion felt like a thread weaving into a larger tapestry of understanding. Layla's heart fluttered with hope, but the nagging weight of her phone's ominous message loomed over her, an unwelcome shadow. "Okay, what about titles?" Mia proposed, tapping her chin thoughtfully. "How about fragile connections or threads of our stories?" Those names conjured images of the work they aimed to create. Layla nodded eagerly. "I love those. And we could even use string or yarn to physically connect our pieces like a spiderweb of our experiences." The group buzzed with energy, tossing around colors, materials, and emotions they wanted to evoke. But even as they discussed these ideas, Layla's mind flickered back to the dark message. She felt torn between this moment of potential and the dread that loomed just outside the shimmering bubble of creativity. Mia noticed her distraction. Layla, are you okay? You seem a bit off. She forced a smile, not quite convincing herself. Yeah, I'm fine. Just thinking about how we can combine everything into one cohesive piece. Hey! Jason jumped in, pointing enthusiastically. What if we document our process? Like, capture videos of us creating, talking about our feelings as we build this installation. It could help others understand why these connections matter. Yes. Layla said, her heart racing at the thought. That could lead to powerful dialogues. But just as her spirits lifted, Jordan approached the group, his swagger unmistakable. Layla clenched her fists, anxiety knotting in her stomach. Would he be a part of this hope-filled project, or would he turn it into something uncomfortable? Hey, what is going on? Jordan asked, leaning against the wall with that familiar grin. This looks interesting. The group exchanged hesitant glances. Layla stepped forward, drawing strength from the unity in her circle. We're planning a project about connections, how they impact us, both positively and negatively. We want to include everyone's voice, even yours. Jordan raised an eyebrow, surprised. My voice? Really? Yeah, Sarah chimed in, somewhat nervously but with conviction. It's important for everyone to be heard, and we think your experiences matter too. She watched as confusion flickered across his face, but he masked it quickly with indifference. Sure, why not? I've got a few things that might surprise you all. As he began to share his ideas, Layla's thoughts swirled. Was he really going to engage? Could he shed the bravado? Or was this just a game to him? The more he spoke, the more Layla found herself captivated by his words. He shared stories of loneliness and urge to fit in, and for the first time, she glimpsed a side of him that felt raw and real. The layer of arrogance began to peel away, revealing someone navigating the same tumultuous emotions they all felt, but just as the conversation deepened, the sharp ping of her phone pulled her focus. The unknown message weighed heavily on her mind again, its meaning twisting apprehensively. Layla, you okay? Mia nudged her gently, taking a breath. Layla glanced down briefly. Yeah, just I keep getting messages that make it feel like something's coming. Her words brought an uncomfortable hush over the group. What do you mean? Jason pressed, concern etched across his features. I don't know, Layla admitted, her vulnerability spilling over. They just feel threatening, like I'm not prepared for something. The atmosphere shifted, the thrill of creation suddenly shadowed by uncertainty. She looked at her friends, their faces masks of support and concern. Whatever it is, Mia said firmly, we'll face it together. Remember what we're doing here. This project connects us, and we can take anything on as a team. Layla felt warmth surge in her chest, but something still nagged at her subconscious. Yeah, but how do I know what will come next? How can I stand strong against the storm? The room bristled with unspoken tension as everyone processed her words. What if? She couldn't handle what was on the horizon. The weight of unknowns felt heavier than ever, and just then, another message buzzed. Her heart raced as she read the screen, prepare yourself. You can't hide forever. Layla's breath caught in her throat. Whatever this was building toward, it felt explosive, and she couldn't shake the thought that wariness had become a silent part of the group's journey. What could possibly be waiting just around the corner? And would they all be able to handle it together? The air felt charged with tension as Layla stared at her phone, the words blurring into a haze of anxiety. She could feel the room's focus shift toward her, but the buzz of creativity that had filled the space moments before now felt like it was trapped beneath a heavy blanket of uncertainty. Layla? Jordan's voice broke through her whirlwind thoughts. Are you alright? There was concern in his tone, and for the first time, she noticed honesty beneath the bravado. The wall around him was beginning to crack. I think so, she stammered, trying to shake off the grip of fear that gnawed at her. It's just these messages I'm getting. What do you mean, threatening? Mia leaned in, scanning Layla's face for answers, her expression filled with worry. It's hard to explain. It's like someone knows something about me, Layla confessed, a sense of vulnerability washing over her. The knot in her stomach tightened, and she struggled to pull her thoughts together. Mia's eyes widened. What are they saying? Layla hesitated, but her friends' faces urged her on. I don't want to drag everyone down with my problems, but it wouldn't he be dragging us down, Jason interjected gently. You're not alone in this. We're all on the same path. Taking a breath, Layla decided to share the contents of the messages, the sensation of vulnerability rising like a tide. They're vague, but the last one said, prepare yourself. You can't hide forever. It just feels ominous. Jordan shifted uncomfortably, his signature smirk replaced by an unfamiliar seriousness. That's messed up. No one should have to deal with that alone. Have you thought about who it could be coming from? Sarah asked, her voice soft yet firm. Layla bit her lip, scanning the room. I wish I knew. I guess I just hoped it would stop. The silence hung heavily in the air, each friend seemingly immersed in their thoughts. The conversation had shifted, and lay beneath it all was a shared understanding of fear and connection. Jordan's eyes sparkled with something close to determination. Look, if you ever need someone to talk to, just call me. I realize I might not always be the best with words, but I'm willing to listen. Surprised, Layla shot him a questioning glance, contemplating the sincerity behind his offer and the layers she was just beginning to uncover in him. We've got your back, Layla, Mia added, squeezing her arm for support. Before Layla could respond, a sudden crack of laughter echoed from the hallway, breaking the heavy atmosphere. A group of students nearby swung around, clearly not aware of the weight they had interrupted. But something about the sound felt lingering, a reminder that life outside still pulsed with energy even as they wrestled with unseen storms within. Maybe we should celebrate what we have instead of worrying about what might come, Jason suggested, his optimism like a beacon slicing through the tension. Yeah. Layla nodded, inspired by the idea of weaving joy into uncertainty. Let's keep brainstorming. We can make something incredible, no matter what happens. The group slowly began to pick at ideas, laughter mixing with determination as new visions surfaced. A slight smile spread across Layla's face, sparks of hope igniting. Yet as they delved deeper into plans for the installation, her phone buzzed again, shattering the moment. Ugh, not again. She muttered, feigning annoyance even as her heart raced. But as she looked down to see another threatening text, the cheerful atmosphere folded back over her like a heavy cloud. Can I read it? Mia asked softly, already reaching for Layla's phone. No. Layla pulled it back sharply, panic washing over her. I mean, what if it's something nobody should know? The room fell silent, one shocked expression after another shifting between her and the phone. Layla felt exposed, yet defensively driven to protect a truth she didn't fully understand. A chill swept through as silence returned, settling like a blanket of anxiety. What lay ahead felt darker than ever, and yet sparks of resolve ignited in her friends, urging her to confront. The shadows, what could possibly be waiting for her in the messages, and could this battleground turn into a source of strength for her and her friends? The question hung in the air: would they confront whatever was coming together, or would the storm threaten to tear them apart? The group exchanged worried glances, the air thickening with uncertainty. Layla's heart pounded in her chest, and for a fleeting moment, she felt utterly alone in a room full of friends. Layla, we can't help if we don't know what we're up against, Jordan said, his voice low but steady. But we're here for you, whatever it is. She loved that they cared. The warmth of their support wrapped around her like a snug blanket, but it also felt like a pair of heavy shackles, pressing against her resolve. It was hard to weigh the risk of sharing too much when the stakes felt so high. I just don't want anyone else to get hurt, she whispered, voicing the fear that had crossed her mind since the messages began. No one will get hurt, Sarah assured her, a fierce determination glinting in her eyes. Unless we sit back and do nothing. You have to trust that we're in this together. Layla considered this. Could they handle the storm brewing around her? She scanned their faces, reading the confidence they had in her. It was both reassuring and terrifying. "Okay, here goes," she finally breathed, scrolling to the latest message. It says, "You might think you're safe, but the truth is lurking in the shadows." The room fell silent again, the echo of her words hanging heavily in the air. Swallowing hard, she felt a mix of dread and liberation that made her stomach twist. "Lurking," Jason murmured. "That sounds way too creepy." "Creepy is an understatement," Mia sighed, shaking her head. "This is serious. Do you have any idea who might be behind this?" Layla shrugged, the weight of her thoughts pressing on her. I have a few ideas, but they don't really feel right. I just wish it would stop." Just then, her phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with a new notification. This time, her body reacted instantly, dread creeping in as her eyes widened. Could she really face whatever lay in that message? "Maybe it's a sign," Jordan said softly. "Like an opportunity to confront whoever it is. Or it could just make everything worse," Layla countered, anxiety flaring. She felt vulnerable, exposed in a way that paralyzed her will. "I understand if you're scared," Jordan said, his gaze steady. "But remember, running from this won't make it disappear. You've got friends with you. Just read it." With a slow nod, she hesitated, then flipped the phone around to show them. "It says there's no escape. You will regret your choices soon." The silence was deafening. One by one, her friends leaned closer, their expressions a mix of concern and resolve. "Layla, we need to figure this out," Mia said firmly. "Can you take a step back and look at the bigger picture? Could this be linked to something from your past?" As memories flickered like images on a screen, Layla felt a tug at her heart. Old wounds, long dormant, started to resurface. Could it be possible that someone knew? Something inside her tensed at the thought, but as her friends watched her, waiting for an answer, she felt a rush of determination rise. "I think it might be," she finally admitted, her voice steadying. "There are things I haven't talked about, things I thought I had put behind me." Jordan moved closer, the heaviness of concern in his eyes softening. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together. You're not alone. You never were." Layla took a deep breath, the sense of camaraderie wrapping around her heart like armor. Maybe this could be the start of understanding if she chose to open up. But just as she began to muster the courage to share, her phone buzzed again, a sound that twisted her gut. "Is it the same number?" Jason asked, intrigued but cautious. "No," Layla answered, a chill creeping along her spine. "It's an unknown number." The room fell silent once more, and that hair-raising feeling of uncertainty enveloped her once again. What could possibly be waiting beyond the screen? The thought shrouded her in dread, readying her mind for whatever was to come. Could she muster the strength to unravel the threads of her past and face the unknown together with her friends? The question lingered, heavy and hopeful, as they all waited for the next heartbeat, the next breath, the next shocking message. Layla braced herself as she held her phone in trembling hands, the screen illuminating her anxious face in the dim light of Sarah's room. This was it. The moment of truth. The unknown always felt scarier than the battle itself, but she held fast to the warmth of the friendships surrounding her. They would face whatever came next together. "Go on, read it," Sarah urged, her eyes locked on Layla, a mix of anticipation and support. Taking a deep breath, Layla read aloud, "Dear Layla, the shadows only exist if you allow them to. Shine your light, and they will fade." The words flowed with an unexpected soothing quality, wrapping around her like a comforting embrace amidst the growing tension. "What does that mean?" Jason pondered aloud, a furrow in his brow. "Are we supposed to interpret it?" The energy in the room shifted, a synchronous heartbeat pulsing in the air as everyone processed her message. A newfound clarity began to settle in Layla's mind, unearthing the buried courage she had thought was lost. Maybe this is about confronting those shadows, not letting them rule my life. It's about being brave enough to pursue what means the most. Jordan nodded, leaning in closer. That's right. What if we redefine what those messages mean? If they're trying to scare you, it's because they fear your strength. Shine that light, Layla. With their encouragement igniting a fire within her, Layla felt layers of doubt breaking away. You're right, it is time I find my voice for real this time. I want to create that safe space we talked about, a group where everyone can share their stories, not just me. That's brilliant. Mia exclaimed, her enthusiasm catching fire. We can host an event. Invite everyone, make it about embracing our connections and experiences. An electric current surged through Layla's veins, weaving the energy of shared purpose among her friends. This was the vision she needed, one that transformed fear into strength. And yet she felt that shadow lingering, but maybe now it was just a whisper urging her forward. If she could face her past, perhaps it would dissolve into nothingness. Gradually, the thrill of excitement pushed aside the feeling of intimidation that had gripped her heart. Let's make it happen. We'll set a date and start planning. We'll create something beautiful out of this challenge. In that moment, her phone buzzed again, and one after another, every face turned into a vivid picture of support. She calmed her nerves, refusing to let fear sabotage the progress they had made. Gripping her phone, she opened the new message, her heart pounding. Do you really think you can open the truth? We are always watching. But this time, she smiled in defiance. Let them watch. The determination coursing through her was loud and clear. I'm taking this head on. I want to let threats dictate our journey. Her friends erupted in applause, knowing this was a turning point. Together they would create a sanctuary where fears were transformed and connections were forged. In that moment, vulnerability blossomed into strength. As plans swirled around them, they drafted creative ideas, seeking out local allies, and envisioning the art pieces that would convey their message. Layla's heart swelled with hope. Maybe she wasn't just confronting shadows, she was inviting light. Over the following weeks, the project blossomed, growing roots in their hearts as each student contributed, weaving their stories into the fabric of the installation. For Layla, this was a celebration not just of connections, but of who they were individually and as a group. The dark messages remained an echo, but they offered clarity instead of fear. Every heartbeat reminded her that she was not alone. Finally, the day of the event arrived, buzzing with anticipation. The room felt electric, alive with art and voices, stories strung across walls like vibrant threads. The lingering shadows had transformed into a tapestry of shared struggles and triumphs. All were gathered, from familiar faces to newly embraced ones, standing shoulder to shoulder with one common goal. As she stepped forward to begin, adrenaline coursing through her veins, Layla looked out at the crowd that had once felt so daunting. Now, it looked like home. Thank you all for coming. Today is about sharing, connecting, and understanding that every voice matters. She felt warmth radiating from her soul, casting light on the shadows that had once haunted her. Together, they would define the light. Tears glistened in her eyes as laughter and excitement filled the air, heartfelt connections forming as stories were shared. In the embrace of vulnerability, fear dissolved, wrapping them in hope and acceptance. That night, as Layla looked upon the installation, something remarkable happened. The shadows began to fade. The collective strength of their voices illuminated the journey ahead. In that moment, she realized that she was ready. Ready to stand tall, ready to embrace every challenge, ready to shine because their voices together created a light that nothing could extinguish. And with that final realization, everything settled into place. This was only the beginning. If you want to be part of this journey, you need to subscribe now. Join our community and don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to fuel this movement. Your support matters. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this ending because we want to hear from you. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. This is the moment to show your support. Together, we are stronger.